Hi, welcome back to my channel, and this is a sound off on the Braxtons. Okay, so I'm a little bit behind. I was not feeling good last week, so I couldn't come in here and recap episode 5 because I had lots and lots to say. But I'm here now, so let's get into it. Okay, so shortly after I posted my video for episode 4, Really BTV went live and did a video where she went through Tracy's will. Shout out to her because she's the real MVP champ. Okay, she is the real champ with the receipts. So if you watched my last video, you know that I was not feeling how this show was portraying Kevin Sr. I just felt like something fugazi was going on, something I did not like was happening. And I'm so glad Really BTV came through with the receipts because I suspected some trickery going on, okay? So for those of you who did not see her video, I mean, it's still up, I believe. So go check it out. Pretty much, the will made them out to be liars. As we saw Tawanda in the last episode, it was a cliffhanger where she was like, she put in her will, she did not want a funeral. He went against her wishes. And see, when Tony was telling Trina, girl, maybe we should talk to him. Maybe we should have a conversation with him. See, Tony is the person in that family that has the good sense. Sometimes y'all need to listen to Tony. Y'all always listen to Tawanda, and Tawanda had all of y'all looking crazy. Because now we've seen the will. And now we know that you guys intentionally misled the public, and I don't understand why. Kevin Sr. complied with what his wife requested in her will. She said she would allow one viewing where he and her son were in charge of the guest list and how she was to be dressed. She stated that her husband and son be in charge of who can attend her viewing and how she is dressed. He did that. She wanted to be cremated. He did that. He did a celebration of life after she was cremated. He did not give her a typical or a traditional funeral. Now, what she said was she did not want her sororities to do, I think, the last rites. I'm not sure how you call it, but they have a ceremony that they usually perform at funerals. She said she did not want that. He complied with those guidelines. So why you guys would come on the show and try to make him seem like a monster who just didn't care what his wife wanted and just did what he wanted to do? Why would y'all do that? I understand if y'all didn't like it, y'all didn't like it. If y'all didn't like him, y'all don't like him. But why would you try to villainize this person who is also grieving? The same way you guys are having a tough time, he's having a tough time as well. This was his wife. Why would y'all make him, like, why even acknowledge him? If you don't like him, why even talk about him? Why make him a storyline? Why make him a villain in the storyline? I don't understand. Kevin Sr.'s name was all up and through that will. She absolutely left him money and possessions. And for them to try to minimize his role in her life is wrong. And before I saw Really B's live, I saw another content creator that posted a snippet of Tawanda's live. So in the live, Tawanda's boyfriend, Sean, or fiance, whatever he is, he said, he made a couple of comments that really annoyed me, okay? He made a comment like, oh, what the viewers didn't get to see is how they were so cool that we just saw a snippet of what happened. Basically, he was trying to imply that Tracy only pretended to have an issue with him for the cameras and for her husband's benefit. She pretended to not like him when her husband was around. But when her husband wasn't around, they got along great. He also said like, oh, I've been around longer than that dude. You've been around longer than her husband? Even if you met her before she met her husband, you don't got no rights to say, I've been around longer than that dude. That's crazy. And even if you have been around longer than that dude is her husband. That's been her man for 30 years. So what is that supposed to mean? That really made me feel away when he said that, like, oh, I've been around longer than the dude. If you don't want her husband to come on the show and tell his side of things and share his experience with Tracy, that's y'all right to do that, right? But I also don't think it's fair for you to have your boyfriend and to have Trina's husband speaking and saying all these other things. Because Vaughn said something too. on the live where he was like, when his mother passed away, she didn't want a funeral. They waited some time and then they threw a party. And he was saying, oh, that's what he told Trina. This is what your sister wanted. How do you and Sean know what Tracy wanted above her husband? Y'all know better than her husband? That's so disrespectful. Like, get out of here with that. Why do all of this? Like, why do all of this? This was too much, Takeda. I didn't like it. Like, if y'all don't like the man, if y'all think he's so terrible, then just leave him alone. Don't talk about him. But to go out and be saying all this extra stuff, y'all deserve to be embarrassed. Y'all. Anyways, back to this speech that Tawanda was giving at the end of episode 4 and the beginning of episode 5, where she is explaining the history and what really took place back when they signed without Tracy. I appreciate her giving us the details, but it's not needed. When Tracy was alive, why didn't you say this to her while she was alive? You guys were on our TV screens for 10 years. Why not clear it up then? Every time that it came up, you guys kind of just tried to shush Tracy and run away from the conversation. Why talk about it now? When she was alive and wanted to express herself so that y'all could resolve it, you didn't want to talk about it. Why not say it then? I'm confused. Like, what are we supposed to do with this information? We're not Tracy. You should have said this to Tracy. I am starting to feel like you guys brought the show back to rewrite history because you are uncomfortable with what some of the viewers have said to you guys on social media. I think you're uncomfortable with some of the footage, what we saw transpire over the 10 years that you guys were on our TV screens. I think you guys are uncomfortable with the way that you guys sometimes treated Tracy, and you're here now to clean it up and to Men in Black us so that we forget whatever. Like, you guys want us to now see like how much you loved her, how much you were in her corner, how much you supported her. And yes, you guys did love her. Yes, you guys did support her. She loved y'all too. And she supported y'all as well. But that cannot erase some of the things that we saw y'all say and do to her. Like, we witnessed that. You can't take it away. Even if it's scrubbed off the internet, we still remember what happened. And I feel like you guys are trying to shift the bad energy off of you and put it on her husband. That's what it's starting to feel like. The crazy thing about that, though, is the same way that she loved and forgave y'all every time y'all hurt her feelings, she loved and forgave her husband when he did wrong to her. Many a times it was her husband that was wiping her tears when you guys made her cry. So I don't understand what this is for. If you're mad at her husband, be mad at him. But y'all don't have to bring him on TV or bring his name up and sully his character on TV and did not even give him an opportunity to come on here and explain his side. Don't want nothing to do with him. I think it's unfair. Okay, moving on to Tamar. Now, I know everybody saw the scene at Tracy's birthday party where Tamar was expressing that she was the last to find out about Tracy's illness. And she said she found out by mistake. She found out when the hospice nurse said that Tracy had 2 weeks to live. I'm a little unclear because I know that when Tracy passed away, Toni went on Tamron Hall and she said that Tracy was initially given 6 months to live, but she lived a whole year past that. So I'm wondering, when the hospice nurse said that Tracy had 2 weeks to live, did she live more than 2 weeks, or did she really only have 2 weeks left? The reason I'm asking that is because when that clip made its way to social media ahead of the episode airing, somebody said, how did the whole world know that Tracy was sick and you didn't know that Tracy was sick? Now, Tracy's illness was kept under wraps. But when we all saw the photos from her son's wedding, everyone started to speculate whether or not Tracy was okay, because she was visibly very thin, way thinner than we know her to be. So people were speculating, right? So it's like, how did the whole world know something was wrong and Tamar not know? Like, I'm wondering, did they like break that conversation up, or did they, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like she knew way sooner than the 2 weeks. Also, when Tamar was explaining that she called her mom, her dad, Trina, Tawanda, her brother, nobody would tell her what happened. So she didn't say she called Toni, and she didn't say she called Tracy. Because I feel like if you would have called Tracy, Tracy would have told you. So I'm also thinking, when you called Toni, did Toni tell you but say you're not supposed to know, so don't say nothing? Because she was adamant that Toni knew and she did not know. How do you know that Tony knew? Makes me feel like maybe Tony slipped up and told you, but said, please don't say nothing because I'm not supposed to tell you. That's what I'm thinking happened. But anyways, Trina's saying, well, she might not have told you because you guys were at odds. Trina, you was wrong for that. Trina, you was wrong for that because we know that Tamar and Tracy always bumped heads. They were always at odds. The last time we saw them on the show, they got into it. But Tracy also got into it with Tawanda. So that's not a reason to not tell someone because you might be at odds. This is a life or death matter. Like, that's not a reason to not tell someone. I don't think that was a nice thing to say. It might have been true, but I don't think that that was a nice thing to say because this is the thing. Tracy got into it with all of y'all at some point. So why would you say that? And to be honest, I don't think that that's a real reason she didn't say nothing. I think Tamar is very sensitive. We all know it. Like, if y'all remember the scene where Tony told everyone she had lupus, Tamar did not take it well. Like, it was not good. And so I think that when people are sick like that, they don't really need a lot of stress. They don't really need to see you break down because then it makes it hard for them. Like, they're in the fight for their life. They don't need to see you breaking down because I think that that's a lot. I think she didn't tell her sister because maybe she didn't think her sister could handle it or she wasn't ready for her sister to know, right? Like, she has that right to say, I don't want to tell her just yet. Y'all wait, I'll tell her when I'm ready. She has that right. Sometimes that's just how it is. Like, people, they're going through their own personal struggle. And if they don't want certain people to know, they don't want certain people to know. If they don't want to do things the way you would do it, then they don't want to do things the way you would do it. Now, Tamar blaming her siblings for not telling her, that was unfair. If they were honoring Tracy's wishes in the moment, they were honoring her wishes in the moment. I don't think that that's something for her to hold against them. And are we forgetting that around that time, Tamar tried to send herself home to the Lord? Did y'all forget about that attempt? Maybe that's part of the reason why she didn't tell, Tracy didn't want her to know. Like, Tamar is very fragile. Tamar had a lot going on. And then on top of that, Tamar is like the crazy one. She's always saying something silly. She's always saying something goofy. The moment she would have found that out about Tracy, she would have had a whole conniption. She would have broke down. She would have lost it. Maybe Tracy only wanted to have interactions with her where they say crazy stuff to each other. And she makes fun of her and they make jokes. Maybe that's the type of interactions she wanted to have with Tamar while she was fighting this battle. The only thing in that moment that you can do is say, Tracy, I really think you need to tell her. That's the only thing you could do is tell Tracy, Tracy, girl, I really think you need to tell her. Let us tell her. Let us tell her. Like, that's all you could do. But you cannot go around her and say, I'm going to tell you anyways. But based off of what Tamar was saying, I think Tony told her. But then again, I don't know. I'm just saying. Okay, so in episode 6, not a lot happened. Not too much happened. But we did get to see Tony's son, Denham. He's trying to be a model and he's so handsome. Like, I really, really hope that he does well. I would like to see that. I would like to see him do good because I know that Diesel was modeling. I don't know if he's still modeling. I know he's in college. But, I mean, I don't feel like we've ever really seen Denham much. Like, we see them here and like we see a glimpse of them, but they're not really out there like that. So that was nice to see. I saw a snippet of a live that Kevin Sr. did, and he was recalling when Diesel was first diagnosed with autism, and he said he was telling Tony, like, oh, don't worry, he'll be fine. A lot of times children on the spectrum are geniuses, and he was saying how, like, he's in college and he's doing so well, and I was just like, dang. The way that y'all have, I know we shouldn't be talking about Kevin Sr. right now, but the way y'all have treated Tracy's husband, it ain't right. Because he speaks to them so fondly. He does not shade them at all. Like, he does not shade them at all. What it really feels like is that man did for his wife what he felt in his heart he was supposed to do. Did not allow y'all to take over, because y'all have the takeover spirit. He did not allow y'all to take over. He did not allow y'all to make Tracy's last celebration about you all. He stood on business for his wife, and y'all mad. That's what it really seems like. Because he speaks of you guys like so highly. He doesn't say anything shady about you guys. When he said that, he was like, yeah, I remember when he was first diagnosed and now he's in college and he said the school name and everything. That does not seem like a bad person. That seems like a person who really loves y'all. But y'all mad because he stood on business behind his wife. I know we weren't probably talking about him, but I just had to say that because the memory just popped in my head as I was speaking about Denim and Diesel. But back to Denim. Hope he does really well. I would really like to see him, you know, I would love to see him on the cover of Vogue or wherever. Just do you, boo, do you. Now, Miss E and her blind date, child, ain't nobody got time for none of that. When I saw him, I was like, oh, he's dressed like Papa Braxton. He's dressed just like Papa Braxton. Like, is that... Another YouTuber said that he's a paid actor, and I was like, y'all ain't right. Miss E, don't nobody got time for that. If you gonna date, please just don't date on the show because you don't ever like nobody. You don't like none of these men. You don't like nobody. Stop wasting our time. You do not want to date. You don't even want to be there. You don't be wanting to be there. You don't be flirting. You don't be doing nothing. You just be like, I want a man with a bag. I guess, Miss E, I don't know, like, we gonna have to go somewhere else. We gonna have to go out the country to find Miss E a man, because she don't want none of these men. Like, she don't like nobody. Nobody, y'all, I don't think she be visibly attracted to them. Like, she don't like their outfits. She don't like how they look. Y'all gonna have to get somebody that looks good first. That's what y'all gonna have to do. Because Miss E don't want none of these men that y'all be... She said, yeah, she didn't even eat her food. He was making you laugh, girl. I thought you was gonna... You ain't like him at all? Okay. So back to Kevin Jr. You guys know he was in Atlanta for his mom's birthday party and they want him to see Spirit, the grief counselor, while he's in town. And I just think that was a bit too much for him. Because when they say he had a seizure... That was a lot. Like... When I tell you this show is triggering so many different things for me, stress can really do you dirty. Stress can do you wrong. And to know he's having seizure, like, we already knew he had, like, didn't he have RA? And he would have moments with that. And then now you're having seizure. You're so stressed that you're having seizures. Y'all, I hope he's in a better spot. I know they filmed this earlier this year. I hope he's doing a lot better. Like, he just needs a breather. I feel bad for him. It's triggering so many memories for me. I know when my mom was sick, my grandmother was hospitalized twice because she was just so stressed about her child. Even me, I was going through it when my mom was like, Lord. Life be lifing. Life really be lifing. I feel so bad for him. I really do. I know him and his dad are doing better, and I'm so thankful for that for him because, child, you need your daddy. You need your daddy. I wish I still had my daddy. Shoot. Yeah. This is a lot. Now, let me tell y'all what pissed me off about this episode, okay? Kevin Jr. is in town. Scratchy is in town with his super auntie, Tawanda. And he has a medical emergency. He suffers a seizure. And this man tells his auntie that he is afraid that he may have another seizure. He is afraid to be alone. And instead of Auntie Tawanda saying, well, pack your bags, you coming home with me. You're not staying here in this hotel by yourself. You're going to be home with me where I can check in and peep in and make sure you're okay. She says, oh no, I'm going to make sure I call you. I'm going to call you. I'm going to have everyone call and check up on you. You're going to be just fine. Tawanda, is this standing up for Tracy? Is this fighting for Tracy? Her son had a medical emergency. He's in town because you asked him to be in town. And you're going to leave him in a hotel room where he can have another seizure? In his sleep? You're not going to take him to your house? We didn't see the inside of your house, but your house got at least 5 bedrooms. I'm sure of that. So if you and your husband are in one, your daughter's in one, your son is in one, that leaves 2 more rooms. Now, I don't know if Sean's children were there and maybe the rooms are occupied, but Trina got to have space in her house. Your mama got to have space in her house. Like, there's no reason why you should have left that man at the hotel after he just had a seizure. That made me feel away. That made me feel away. There's no way. There's just no way. There's no way my nephew is in town and something like that happens and I leave his side. I'm not leaving his side. You would have to pry me away from him. I'm not leaving my nephew's side. Like, you were holding his hand walking into the birthday party, it's, you know, as a surprise to everyone. And you would leave him overnight after he just, that made me feel away. That made me feel some kind of, I didn't like that, Tawanda. That made me look at her crazy. That made me look at all of them crazy. But Tawanda, you were the one that were there. You should have said, get your bags, you coming home with us. Even if you gotta make him a nice little pallet on the couch, in the game room, or wherever. You don't leave some like that. Ugh. And when I hear the word seizures, that freaks me out. I remember when I was in the 6th grade, my classmate had a seizure in the classroom. And it was one of the scariest things I have ever witnessed. They had to call 911. The ambulance had to come and get her. They put her on a stretcher and we were all like looking. Scariest thing I've ever witnessed. And you were going to leave him in the hotel overnight by himself when he just had a seizure a few hours prior? That is wild. But you love him so much. But this is your Scratchy. This is your nephew. And you fought for Tracy. And you always will fight for Tracy. That is crazy to me. When you guys went to Maryland and y'all were like, oh, well, why do you wait till things are so bad before you call us? Why do you wait to let us know when things are so bad? This moment he expressed to you, I'm just worried about what'll happen later on when I'm by myself. And you couldn't step in and say, okay, well, you're coming home with me? That's why the man don't call y'all when he's in trouble. That's why he doesn't call y'all when things are going bad for him. Because he knows that y'all not going to be there for him. So why even disappoint yourself and call them? You call them when things are terrible and you have no other choice but to call them. That made me feel, ugh. Tawanda, you need to be ashamed of yourself. Child, I don't know. I just think that the Braxtons need to realize that we watched for 10 years the things that happen on this show. And we're not going to forget it because you guys come with a new show and start telling us new stuff. Like, we're not going to forget what we saw. 10 years is a long time for someone to say over and over and over and over how they feel left out, how they feel like they're treated differently, how they feel like they're not worth anything to you guys. She expressed this over and over and over and over. I hate the fact that you guys are manipulating the audience to be like, oh, it's because of the group. The group is like a pivotal point in the story, but that's not the problem. That's not the only thing. It's the continued behavior time after time after time after time after time. We watched Tracy express herself and say this. And now that she's gone, it's like you're trying to silence her and say, oh, that ain't what happened. That's not what the truth is. That's not what this is. And it's like a lot of us are triggered because we have families. We have family fights as well. We've gone through some of similar stuff too. We may not be a Braxton, but we've experienced some of this same stuff. 10 years of watching someone say over and over and over how they feel, and then you want us to believe that ain't how she felt. That's not what it was. 10 years is a long time to be watching someone express themselves and for you guys to come back and try to now rewrite history. When I first started watching do you know I've lived like 3 different lives from when that show first premiered until when it went off the air? Like, I remember when I first started watching Braxton Family Values, when it first came on, I didn't have one bill in my name. I didn't have no bills. I didn't pay bills. I went from that to losing both of my parents, watching my mother's cancer battle, to completely being on my own. I've lived 3 different lives. And throughout that time, we saw Tracy tell us time and time again how she felt. And now you guys are trying to rework that and say, oh no, that's not really the thing. And you guys called her the wannabe. No. The show said wannabe under her name for what, 2 or 3 seasons? The public didn't come up with that. That's what you guys presented to us. That's what y'all packaged up and put to us for us to consume as the public. It's like you can't rewrite history. You guys should have come on this show and just kept it real. We loved our sister. We know you guys witnessed some, fights and some arguments, but we really loved our sister. And we want to honor her. And we want to move better. And we want to get help. And we want to do whatever. But to try to come on here and manipulate and say, oh, it was a narrative and it was fed. And like, we didn't do that. We didn't do that. We're only watching and commenting on what we saw. And when Tawanda said it was a narrative and it was fed, that pissed me off. Because someone showed how back, I think that last season when they was in Napa Valley and Tracy went off on Tawanda's boyfriend at the time, and Tawanda got on Twitter and said Tracy was just jealous that she don't have a good man like hers. So who helped feed the narrative? You played into that, Tawanda. Y'all did these things and you have to just live with it. We can't check y'all. We can't tell y'all nothing, but we get to comment on what we see. We get to have an opinion on what is presented to us. And we got opinions. And people got opinions, they're going to say what they got to say. But for you guys to keep trying to manipulate the viewers and tell us this and tell us that, it's wrong. It's wrong. Tracy told us how she felt. We know how she felt. We saw what she said. And she loved y'all. Y'all still her sisters. But she still said what she said. You cannot erase what we witnessed. What the lady said out of her own mouth. It's crazy. And I don't know what they're going to do moving forward. I would hope that, I don't know, this last episode was very much a filler episode. So I'm starting to feel like the Kevin Sr. bashing, I think they're going to stop doing that. I think they're going to stop doing that. I need them to stop. I need them to do better. I don't know. I was very disappointed, though. I was very disappointed in how, like, Tawanda and Trina are carrying on. Like, I don't know. I do not know. But the grudges, man, that grudge, I'm someone that can hold a grudge. And watching this is making me rethink my whole everything. It really is. Because, damn, to be that bitter, that is not, I don't know. I don't know. But, yeah, we can sit up here and talk about this show all day because there's just so much to unpack. There's just so much I can say. But, please like, comment, and subscribe. Thanks for watching.